Hi, Susan. Thank you for joining us. We're going to wait just a few more minutes before we get started. So thank you, everyone who has joined Transformations, and we'll start in a minute.
It's so quiet.
It is so quiet. We got any jams, Michael B. Mayne, or is that too much?
No, I always have jams, but if I play them Facebook, YouTube, and everybody will get mad.
Oh,
Yeah.
so we will not have any jams, but we are here. And we're going to wait for a few more participants to join us in our live streaming chat. And for those of you here, we really thank you for spending a Saturday night, a beautiful day with us, right? 6 p.m. on a Saturday. And you're going to hear from some amazing writers as we talk about the staged reading plays that we produced and are going to be, hopefully you've seen them already. They've been playing on We Out Here since Wednesday, and they will continue to play after the festival is over. So make sure you visit all the plays, some as short as a few minutes and some a little longer, all one-act plays from writers from the African American Writers Alliance. So we will go ahead and just wait for a few more folks, and then we will get started. And on the screen, you can see not only the 6 playwrights that have been involved in this process, but also our dramaturg slash playwright consultants, and also director Lydia K. Valentine. You'll see stage manager, that's Tiana Ross. And then you won't see Tiana, but you'll see their nice, you might see Tiana a little later on. And then of course, Michael B. Mayne, who is there's Michael B. Mayne, who is our executive producer, and the head honcho for We Out Here Seattle. So we're very happy to have Michael be partnering with us to make this happen. We couldn't have done it without Michael. Yay, Michael. So we have a few more people. When we hit that 20 spot, we'll go in and just started. So one more minute and Transformations will begin. Thanks for waiting with us. And sorry, we can't play you any jams, but if you visit our plays though, plug, right? We got to plug. We have some great music supplied by Bonnet Black, also known as Chino Gonzalez, who is also one of our directors for the Disneyland bus. And so check out Chino / Bonnet Black's music on SoundCloud. All of our artists have multiple aspects to their artistry, and you can visit the African American Writers Alliance website for more information. And Tiana, I was going to ask, we can put in the African American Writers Alliance website address, which is www.aawa-seattle.com. And thank you very much, Michael B. Mayne. And you can learn more about all of our writers on that website, as well as get links to their artist pages where they talk about their books and other work that they do. Please support all the artists that you've seen at We Out Here. Many people have Cash Apps and other ways that you can support them. In our case, buying our books, whether we sell them on Amazon or whether we sell them through our website. We really appreciate it. And of course, thank you, Michael, the Mahogany Project. Feel free to roll a few dollars or yen or euros our way too, because without your donations and support, we couldn't have done this project. I just have to say, we couldn't have done it. So thank you so much. So yes, all of our artists wear so many hats, so talented. And that's from the playwrights to our directors, to our actors, to our stage managers, and to our producer, Michael B. Mayne. And so just thank you for your support. We'll wait just 2 more minutes and then we get started because we have a lot to discuss. And the writers have a lot to say because they're writers, they're gonna say something. And we look forward to hearing about their journey and their transformation into playwriting and why they're doing their stories with plays. They write, a lot of our writers write different genres. So feel free to also use the chat at the bottom to ask questions that you might have. Thank you. They aren't no, the plays have recorded and they're actually up and running. Okay. You couldn't find the link. We'll go ahead and send you the link again. If you go to www.weouthereseattle.com, and then you look in the upper left-hand corner of the bar, and you will see on demand. When you go to that on demand, you click that, and you'll be able to see all of the events that have happened, as well as, thank you. Thank you. As well as you'll be able to see everything, all the plays, the 6 plays presented here. So with that, let's go ahead and start. Thank you, Lydia. Good evening. Hey, my name is Marianne Osborne, and I'm the executive director of the Mahogany Project. And we are so glad that you are here with us tonight for Transformations. And Transformations is staged readings of one-act plays by writers of the African American Writers Alliance. And tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to meet all the writers, and we're going to talk a little bit about their plays, their process, what they're going to be doing next. We're going to be answering questions that have already come up. If you've seen the plays, there's feedback forms for each play. On the right side of the play, there's a program, and the programs that show who was in the show, their bios, and then there's a feedback form button. And we've gotten questions for the writers through that feedback form already. And so we're gonna share some of those questions with the writers tonight. And then we're gonna meet Michael, who's helping make this happen. This is his party. We were invited to it. So thanks for inviting us to the party, Michael B. Mayne. And then we're gonna close out. We Out Here 2020 has featured a lot of amazing, amazing conversations, art, resources for the community, and programming. And this segment you're a part of now is the final segment for We Out Here 2020, although it will continue to live on because there's a lot of things that you can access on demand that have already been recorded. So if you missed one of the earlier programs, you can come back to weouthereseattle.com and watch it anytime. So please do, and get to know who's in your community, hear what they're doing, and it's just amazing. And I just love it. And I love seeing all of us, all of the Black community is so diverse, and our voices are so diverse in the work we do. And you will find that out with the plays that you will watch when you get a chance to watch all the plays, the 6 plays we've presented. And for the Mahogany Project, we wanted to showcase playwrights and their stories emerging from the diversity of Black experiences. And tonight, you'll be able to hear the stories behind the stories. And if you don't know about the Mahogany Project, we've been around since 2006. And our founder is Sharon Nairi Williams, who's an artist in the community and does great work. And we're a collective and collaborative arts organization, and we have a mission to support and develop established and emerging artists. We do that by producing and showcasing their work, and we provide a platform for artistic voices from the African diaspora. So Transformation is an example of the way that we have collaborated with the African American Writers Alliance. This project has been a year in the making, and just clarity, I am a member of the African American Writers Alliance also, and I hope you join us. And one of the things that happened was I was sitting in one of our meetings last year, and I'm a theater person, I'm an actress, I direct everything about theater, film, TV, writing, and I'm like, there's got to be some playwrights in the AAWA. That's the short way to say it. And sure enough, I asked, hey, if I produced a playwright festival, anybody want to join? And a lot of members said, yeah. So this was last year in like July. So it's been a year. We started a submission process. Everybody you see here submitted different plays. We had a panel that reviewed those plays in September. We notified the playwrights that their plays were accepted into the festival. And then we started some more work. We got Lydia K. Valentine on board from Literary Inc. to come and do some playwright workshops with the playwrights in November, December of last year. And then the playwrights went back and started writing again. And then in January, February, we had reading circles where we got actors and friends to read their plays so they could hear the words. And then they went back and wrote some more. And then we were able to spotlight some of our playwrights at the ACES event that Shunpike puts on, which we're very happy to be accepted to be a part of. And they had a chance to talk a little bit about their work, and we were ready to do some stage readings in the spring and the summer, and then the pandemic hit. We are so fortunate that Michael B. Mayne and Minerva Labs reached out and said, you know what? I know all these things are getting canceled, but we're not canceling We Out Here 2020. We're gonna do it virtual. Do you wanna bring that Playwright Festival to We Out Here 2020? And what could I say, but yeah. You know, we've been working on this. Everybody's ready, but then we had to hustle, hey, and figure out how are we going to bring their stories to a virtual experience. So this is the first time for the Mahogany Project. This is the first time, I believe, and Georgia is one of the members who's been in AAWA for a long time. This is the first time, I believe, for African American Writers Alliance to have our plays presented virtually. And so we are very excited to do that. And it took a lot of effort and dedication and hard work. We could not do this without the playwrights. And we also could not do it without our sponsors. You know, without those sponsors, we wouldn't have been able to hire some amazing directors, actors, be able to compensate the playwrights in some small form. It's never enough when you're an artist. Sometimes, you know, it's just, ooh. But, you know, to compensate them for their time and effort. And I want to thank the African American Writers Alliance for believing in this project. Golden Nile Productions, Literary Inc., the Hansberry Project, Minerva Labs, the City of Seattle Office of Arts and Culture, T. Macy Photography, Bonnet Black Music, and our fiscal sponsor, Shunpike. Thank you so much, everybody. Have to thank all of our family and friends, our Give Big donors, and the donors who have given to Mahogany Project over the years. So let's get started. Thank you for that, letting me do that introduction of what we are, Mahogany Project, and what we do. Now let's meet our writers and hear what they do. We're going to ask them to introduce themselves, tell us about their play, and a little bit, if you haven't seen their play yet, a little bit about what their play is about. So we'll start with Georgia McDade. Do you mind, Georgia?
Hello, and thank you so much for coming. I'm very happy to be here. I see myself as a storyteller, but I do write a lot of poetry. I actually have written quite a few plays, but they were always for school or church. This is the first time I've done one for the public, and I'm very excited about it. It's my introduction is probably longer than my play, but I'm happy with it, and I think I can do I think I can do many more. This has been a great experience for me from all sides. Thank you.
Thanks, Georgia. Helen? Helen, can you unmute yourself? I'm sorry. Oh,
Can you hear me now?
yeah, there you go.
Is this me now? Hello. All eyes on you. Well, my name is Helen Collier. I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois. All Black city. At least that's where I lived. It was all Black. So I come to you as a writer of science fiction, and not a writer, not a playwright, until the Spirit brought a person into my life who said to me, "You have a play in you. Let's get it out." And I mean, this woman is just amazing. You know, she will touch your heart, touch your spirit, and make you feel you can do things that you never even thought about. So Mary Ann encouraged me to do something that I had not really even given a thought. But I have always wanted to inspire children to learn about our history. I remember my own upbringing and my lack of knowledge about my history, not knowing anything about slavery, not knowing anything about my ancestors. And I wanted to write something that gave life to that, gave meaning to the phenomena people that we are. And I wanted to start with small minds, you know, young minds, I should say. And that is why I wrote Redbone, because we're so influenced by our elders and what they tell us and how they see life. And if we don't have anyone that's going to teach us in a way that's meaningful so that we really know our history, then it's no good. And I wanted to do that. So thank you, Mary Ann.
Thank you, Helen. Thanks. Let's go with Jay.
Okay, I'm unmuted. So my name is Jay, and I've been a member of the African American Writers Alliance for several years. And I didn't start a lot of writing. I was writing before, but really didn't do a lot of writing until I became a member of the Writers Alliance. And they just kind of really pushed you and encouraged you in a different ways to really to put your thoughts, put your words, put your ideas, your feelings, your emotions, put it on paper, put it in print. And so I certainly did write poems before, and I wrote plays before, but I would always just put my plays on the shelf because I really didn't know what to do with them. I didn't know who would like them, who would be interested, how to get them out there, how to get a director, how to get actors. You know, is it going to cost me? Am I going to do all this work and it's going to be for nothing? So up pops Mary Ann Osborne as a member of the African American Writers Alliance. And so, you know, as I watch it, I'm just going to go back really quickly. As I watch other poets like Minnie and Georgia, and I listen to their works, and I thought, and it really pushed me to be better, to do better, to find my own voice. And so initially I thought, I'm going to try and sound like Georgia. And so my pieces would be kind of like Georgia. But I thought, no, I have got to find my own voice, and I just got to put myself out there, not be afraid, not be shy, not be hesitant, just do me. Now, back to the plays. So thanks to Mary Ann. She says, you know how Mary Ann is, for those that know her. She's such a bundle of energy and excitement, enthusiasm. She has an idea here. What do you think? Let's try this. Let's go there. Okay, let's do plays. And we were like, oh yeah, let's do plays.
Right.
And so as a result, I love doing poetry and prose and stories that involve not only just social issues, but children and seniors. So I knew right off the bat that I was not going to take what I had already written. I was going to come up, because I only have 15 to 20 minutes. So I wanted to come up with something that was near and dear to my heart. And so seniors are near and dear to my heart. And it just, as I mentioned to Mary Ann and some other people, it just flowed. As soon as I can get a title of something, and Madison Park Bench came to me, and it just flowed. Of course, thanks to their knowledge and their experience, it's like, fix this, fix that, change this, go on that. But for the most part, the foundation was done. So, that's it.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you. Well, we'll talk about getting over our fear as actors later, or actors, whoops, I guess that's out. That's my fear of an actor. As writers later, I think that's really, and this step that some of you took for first time, it's really something admirable. And I just want to, we see Roylette's back in the room. Roylette, you want to go next? Let's see, it might be frozen. I'm not sure. Yeah, it might be frozen. Okay, we'll hang on with Roylette. Oh, you're in, okay. So there we go, all right. Roylette, let's go to, there you go. Tell us a little
Yes, I
about
am
yourself,
in.
brother.
I am sorry. Hello, I'm Royette Mosi, and glad to participate in the Mahogany Project. I think we really need to give a lot of kudos to Mahogany and Mary Ann and the whole team. Pulling together playwrights from Blacks / Afro-Americans is an interesting challenge in today's environment, not to mention together them from a large collection of writers at the African American Writers Alliance. My play is called The Disneyland Bus. The Disneyland Bus is about the introduction of young Black boys in the early 60s, about 1961, to life in America. These young boys were paper boys and had the opportunity to participate in a contest that awarded them a trip to Disneyland. Upon going to Disneyland, some very interesting things transpired to give these young boys an awakening to America.
Thank you, Roylette. Thank you so much. Yeah, and that's what I love. Every single play here is so different. So I appreciate you mentioning, this diversity within the Alliance, but also within the, as we talked about, the community itself. Let's go to Minnie. One more try, Minnie. You're still on mute. I'm sorry.
Try it
There
again.
you go.
Okay. All right. First of all, I owe everything to everyone on the screen, as well as all of the other AWA members and connections, to just simply have enough confidence to think that Mary Ann would give me a chance to write a play or a script, which I had never done before because I prefer, and I should say I've only written in essays, short stories, poems, speeches that you give at different occasions. So this is really extraordinary. People in my household are saying, "What? Are you for real?" And I'll say, "Yes, tune in and you'll see it eventually." So my play is titled Troubled Waters. It really evolved from a short story that came out of my journal when I first migrated to Seattle, looking for a place to stay with a young son and saying, oh, all I could find at that time was part-time work. And my husband, of course, had a job. And by the time we found a house that we could afford, my job was terminated, or they no longer needed me. So here we are trying to figure out, oh my, how can we pay all of these bills on one salary? And all of that is just charged like a cannon when the son in the play creates a scene in the bathroom that makes all of the other family members, the mother and father, try to figure out how are we going to deal with these unexpected, unprepared for experiences. So that grew out of a personal experience. So thanks again to you, Mary Ann, and all of the sponsors and all the people on the screen. Michael B. Mayne, thank you very much. Lots of thanks from Virginia too, because I passed it on to my family members in Virginia. And they are saying, what? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Minnie. I think that's the thing about artists, right? I mean, we evolve. And so, and sometimes, yeah, the overcoming the fear, but the evolution, I'm just, yeah, you never know where it'll take you.
Mhm.
So we'll go with Yvonne Gwendolyn Smith in the house.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Yvonne. Actually Gwendolyn Yvonne, but I usually go by Yvonne. And first of all, I just have to thank God for the gift of writing that He's given me, and for connecting me to Miss Mary Ann from all the way from Arizona. We talked on the phone, I believe, when I was in Arizona and moving to Seattle. And that's how we connected. And once I got here, we connected again in person. And she invited me to be a part of We Out Here, last year, I believe it was. And I did that. And back in the day, actually stemmed from a play I wrote then called The Community. So back in the day is a comedy because I love to laugh. A lot of people don't get to see that sense of humor that I have, but it's there. I love to laugh and I love to make people laugh. And I believe laughter is really good medicine. So I try to laugh as often as I can. And back in the day is based on two sisters having to watch their nieces during a summer that their older sister actually, which wasn't revealed in the play, actually paid one of the sisters, and she didn't tell the older sister, and that's how I know. And that's why she did the fake flyer, because she actually found out. So in the extended version, that would be revealed in the play. So I just want to thank Michael and everyone, the actors, they were excellent. Just Mary Ann, you were awesome. I mean, everything was just really great. So thank you for the opportunity. And I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Yvonne. That's so funny. So as we get into the conversation more, for a lot of you, this is a one act play festival. Part of that was because that was the capacity that we have with the Mahogany Project at this time, not forever. And part of it was that just to really hone in on one act, right? And we knew it was a staged reading. So a lot of people who you see here on this Zoom webinar have actually the full play in ready to, in their heads and or ready to go. So just want to let you know, we'll talk about that. So I didn't know about that little piece. That is brilliant. I love it. And our stage manager, Tiana Ross, who is here, also was in that play, Mozetta. And I want to just give a shout out now to Tiana for helping this whole thing, just coming on board only about a month and a half ago, or actually less than a month ago, to help me help you all in making this this festival happen. And as Mozetta, that I think you would probably like, Tiana, that little piece. Mozetta is good. That's a good one. So please watch all the plays, and that was back in the day. And now I'd like to bring us home with Lydia K. Valentine, and Lydia can tell us a little bit about what she did with the production.
Hi, so I'm Lydia Valentine, and I came on board when Marianne asked me to do some playwright workshops, which then extended to some consulting and acting as dramaturg for this festival. I'm really excited about that. A lot of people don't know what a dramaturg is, and that's okay. But a dramaturg basically asks, like, what are the pieces of this thing and how do they all work together? In terms of being a dramaturg with new works, you help the playwrights to fully imagine their vision, that you help them to shape the play, you give them feedback that matches their goals with what is being put forth. I would say I was most hands-on with Georgia and Minnie because I was also the director of their plays, but it has been really wonderful to see these plays grow and change from being very short. A lot of them were a lot shorter to what they are now, with feedback from the audience and everything. A staged reading. Marianne, do you want me to talk about that now? So before COVID, we had intended to do this all live, and it would have been more like a traditional staged reading, which is basically something that helps to show the potential of a full play. Actors definitely would still be on script, but you would have seen them moving about and interacting with one another, utilizing some props, and those types of things. This is a little bit of a different situation because we're virtual. So it's in between an actor's reading, a writer's reading, or a table read, and a staged reading, because we had our wonderful stage manager read the stage directions instead of being able to see the actors up on their feet and enacting the stage directions. Feedback is huge. These are all works in progress. And the reason that we have the feedback links is to allow the playwrights to know the impact of their words, where there are some questions, what needs to be clarified, what they can focus on as they either extend the piece, which it sounds like back in the day is going to be a great full length, or if they want to keep it as a one act, what they may need to shift and change. And so if you have an opportunity to watch and provide some feedback or even ask questions here, that is really helpful to the playwrights.
Thank you, Lydia. Absolutely. Yeah. We'll slowly start. Thank you. Everyone was introduced. We're going to dig deeper and bring you some questions. And, one of the questions that we did have was, why do the actors have their scripts with them? And it is because it is a staged reading. So when you watch the plays at www.weoutHereSeattle.com on demand, when you watch all 6 of those plays, yeah, my intent was, let's make this relaxing. We're in lockdown, okay? We're really in lockdown. It's already stressful, and we want to bring this art to the community. We want to share it. And one of the things that and we want the actors working, we want the directors directing, we want the playwrights writing. So it's okay to have your script, because that's what a stage reading would be like anyways. It's not memorization. I think one of the, and I'd like to check in with Yvonne about this. Everybody, let's unmute. Let's just unmute so we can have it free to talk. And you don't have to worry about the buttons. So one of the things I wanted to check in with Yvonne, because Yvonne has had a chance to have a live experience with We Out, with back in the day, last year, 2019, We Out Here. And then now Yvonne's had a chance to have this filmed virtual experience. And, you know, a lot of people are looking at doing more virtual even after we're all able to be together again. I wanted to ask you, Yvonne, as a playwright, what were some of the things you observed? You know, no one can take away an audience, right? Being right there. But what were some of the things that you think worked well for your play, live and or virtual, and what didn't work either way? I'd love to hear what your thought is, since you've seen it both ways.
Well, with the live, I mean, the audience is right there and you see their expressions. And with virtual, I mean, of course you can't see the audience. They can see you. But I mean, I like both experiences, but with live, it's a totally different experience. I mean, you're like right there with the audience. And I mean, I was nervous the first time when I had to just go out there and face the audience, but it was, once you're out there, you're doing it, it was totally awesome. Just be out there in front of everyone.
Yeah, thank you. And I wonder, you know, what that is going to look like in the future. And if people out there have seen really great virtual plays, and I don't mean like by the Royal Shakespeare Company or these huge, you know, people who have a lot of big dollars, but I mean like communities putting plays together, and or mid-range production companies, or, you know, because the part of the thing that we want to show people with this festival is that everyone here is at a different stage of their writing experience, that everybody went for it. And we want people to go for it, especially in our community. We want you to write your story and tell your story and find people who will help you put up your story. And I'm very fortunate to have, in this journey, met Tiana as our stage manager, Lydia as our dramaturg, and also Chino Gonzalez as our graphic designer and musician. So I really appreciate that. We do have a question that's come up live, and let's see. The question is, this is a question for the panelists. Do you think writing a play has changed or will change how you approach writing your other genres? So those of you who, you know, write a lot of different genres, has doing this experience, it's going to change the work that you do, and maybe the poetry that you've always done, or the essays, Minnie, or do you think writing a play has influenced that at all?
Well,
okay, we'll go with Helen and then Roy Liotte. Yeah, go ahead, Helen.
For me, as a science fiction writer, it just a different form of writing. But no, it just expands my thought pattern as to how I can even make my science fiction more weird, you know. It's just different. So yes, I enjoyed it, and I'm proud that I did it, and it's the best ever. I'm just going to continue to write in my genre and learn more about plays so that I can write them also.
And Roy Liotte, you had something?
Yeah, for me, I had set out to write 10 plays out of some of my stories. My stories are a collection of stories about growing up in Watts, called The Stories of a Son of Watts. So that I haven't completed writing all the 10, so I don't see that it's going to change the mode. What it will do is help me format a little better the actual script document that I'm using. I think that was valuable interplay. Marianne, I also want to just make one small note on the difference of working virtual versus on stage. It was a virgin experience for me, and I dare say for all of us. But what I think it also did is just expand the capabilities, the tools, and the resources. I think this was an opportunity to gather under pressure a whole different medium to present one's play. So playwrights can use this even as a tool to help them present under normal circumstances their play. I would look at it to do that. Also, we didn't fully have a chance with the timing to explore everything, like some of the transitions that could go in and some of the sound clip. So the opportunities are just beginning. And I look to work with Mahogany to help expand those.
Thank you. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we've had a comment that I thought all the plays worked very well virtually, much better than I thought they would. Thank you for that. I'm not mentioning names unless you want me to, but I'm reading these comments as they come in. So it did work. I acknowledge Yvonne's like live audience. Are you kidding? I'm an actor. I love theater and I love a live audience. It gets you going. Okay. Yeah. I mean, right, that feedback. And what was also, I want to acknowledge our actors, and you can read all about our actors and their bios on www.weoutHereSeattle.com. Read about all our actors. We had about 15 actors. We were not in the same space, right? So what you're saying, Rolia, we were not ever in the same space. So we are acting virtually with each other, which was very new for many of us. I think only 2 or 3 people had mentioned that they'd been doing this in this way. So we had to find those emotions that I'm playing off of nobody, except for somebody on a screen. So I think that it does, you know, we had a scene where there were 3 actors in the same room for a Disneyland bus. We were able to do an outdoor shoot where we actually were all together for Madison Park Bench. But, you know, it has its pluses and minuses, but as you're saying, it could be a calling card. I want to continue with you, Royat, about your play, because you mentioned you have 10 that you are slowly like getting out there. This play, The Disneyland Bus, you originally wrote in December 1989. Jay was talking about, you know, having plays and holding on to them and not being sure who or what. You've had this play since 1989 on Events from a Day in 1961. And your last line of the play is, you know, thanks for the magic, Walt, or you can correct me on the line. I'm wondering for you with your story, you know, and being able to put it up now, what did that look like for you? Why was the time, do you think, now to tell this story? And, you know, are you still going to be doing some rewrites on it? Where do you want to take this play?
Well, there are a couple of things. First thing, for an infant playwright, it's always an exciting, emotional experience to see your concepts on paper become performed and spoken word. I envision that there is still some retooling and refinement that could be done to the Disneyland bus. I also envision that some of the material developed, such as sound clips and transition, could be used to see how we can update that even more as we have a little time. But more importantly,
Yeah.
I think seeing this now gives me as a playwright a little better insight on avenues and medium that I could use as a palette for my plays.
Right. Well, thank you. Because a lot of you had, the one thing about doing it live, when you do put your plays up, we're talking costumes, we're talking sets, we're talking all of those elements, sound clips. Roy Let's Play has a lot of sound and imagery that can be recreated on a stage, so, but, you could film this as a film, but we're filming plays. So it's just that different thing. We did have one of our comments from a viewer saying that even though they hate the virtual experience, they just were mesmerized by everybody's plays. They started watching everything one after the other. And so I just love that, y'all. By the way, Michael B. Mayne told me there's lots of people viewing the plays, and I'm sure we're gonna get a lot more views. And with that, when we talk about the artist, and Minnie, you want to say something?
Can you finish?
Oh yeah. When we talk about the artistry, we can't forget the directors and the actors who also brought them forward. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the experience. How many of you have worked with a director before to get your anything done? Okay, like 2, right?
Even, you mean even presentations?
Yeah, let's say for any of your writings, you worked with a director, yeah. Okay.
Not a theatrical one though. Not in.
So this theatrical experience, Minnie, right? So let's talk about that. Now we got Lydia right there, so but I'm just wondering, and a lot of you write genres where you're writing poetry or you're writing something where it's just you in the room. And maybe your editor is the other person who sees it. Or maybe you give it to someone in AWA or a friend to look it over. But a director, how did you feel of that's a different relationship, a theatrical director, that relationship? And, to have someone really look at your work and try and move it forward, what was that like for you? And what would you say to other playwrights who are like, not sure what that experience would be like, because it's like, this is my voice and this is the way I want it. And then a director comes on board and says, I see it really working better this way. I've had this experience. What do you think? And that collaboration. Anyone want to just speak to that?
Yeah, I see it as a parallel to any kind of submission. By that I mean, whatever I submit to a magazine or journal, an online experience, it's all running in the same direction because they will read it, whereas the director will see it and read it and respond, and the immediacy of the director's response rather than waiting 2 or 3 weeks, you see, from a publishing house, for example, to give the response. Right. So I see it as a valuable asset to have the director and the whole team there because I need other eyes. It's just like when AWAR has its poetry readings. I'm thinking about what am I going to write about or share that will really engage my audience. So I think a writer of a play has the same thing in mind. I have a message that I want to convey, but as Yvonne says, if you can't see the faces responding to the play, it's like, duh, okay. So I see a lot of commonalities, but the immediacy of the director and the other actors, actresses, team members giving the immediate feedback was most valuable for me because then I could go home and work on it rather than waiting for weeks or whatever for an editor of a magazine or a book, to respond. So it was very valuable. And I see it as just another, or script writing as just another branch on a tree, if you will, as a metaphor of things that I think I might be able to do again. Okay.
Right. Anyone?
Well, I think for me, it was the explosion of seeing those actor and those actresses. I mean, this is just words on paper. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting there and their voices, their movement, their emotions it's like cooking a cake and having someone put icing on the top. That's the way it was for me. I mean, the cake was there, but it wouldn't have been anything without that beautiful icing. And I mean, when they brought that, I said, what? It was like a baby being born. You're just looking at it and you're saying, this is what I have produced. This comes from me, and look at it. I can give it to the world because it's beautiful. They have made it beautiful. I was thrilled. And you're right about one thing. When the director tells you that, oh, you said, oh, that's my baby, they want to change it. And then you go home and you think about the things that they're telling you. And so you make your choices, some things that you're comfortable with. And because that's the way it was for me. There was a lot of changes I made, but then there was one change where Redbone said, no, I still like Tarzan because he was nice. And so that I wanted to definitely keep there because it was something special. He loved his grandfather, and his grandfather taught him that, and that was important to him. And then the man was so different from the people who was cruel and evil. So some things, but it's magic. When you guys take a little simple play and transform it into life, it's magic. I loved it.
As a director, one of the great things about working with works in progress, which is what you do with a staged reading, is that direct collaboration with the playwright. As opposed to having a finished product and you have to try to figure out, the playwright's motives and messages and things like that and put your spin on it. You are, we had a lot of conversations and we had scripts that changed up to the day of shooting. And I mean, Helen has been working steadily on Redbone with lots of feedback from me, from Marianne, from Valerie Curtis Newton, who's the director. And Georgia and I, we stretched changing play to a 6-page play, just through conversation and talking about, what is your goal and what is the story, what is the relationship. And that is one of the things that has been so amazing and life-giving with this project, is just the collaboration and connecting with all of these beautiful people and their wonderful words, and knowing that we're going to continue collaborating and working together as we go forward.
You did a wonderful job, telling you. Amazing.
Well, thanks for that, because it really is, as you find with theater now, with just like a film production, television, there are so many people on the team, y'all, right? There's a lot of people on this team. And sometimes, sometimes it seems like a lot. And then as long as everybody knows what the goal is, I think we're good. And I think one of the and also the directors, like Lydia was saying, about directors and working in new works, the directors and the actors you write it, but then they're going to see it. They're going to see it also. Yeah. Sometimes the playwright will be there to talk with, and sometimes they won't. They'll only have your words to go by. So one of our directors, so we're going to mention everybody that we can, in terms of directors, towards the end. Our director for Madison Park Bench, Sadiqa Iman. All I know is after Sadiqa read your script, Jay, Sadiq was like, can we shoot this outdoors? And I was like, okay. And I thought, social distancing, how are we going to do this? Pandemic. And because it was outdoors, We did 6 feet. We had Jay made sure everybody, here's the gloves, here's the sanitizer. You got everybody came with masks. And that was the only one that we shot outdoors based on, first of all, the story itself. It's by the water. We live by the water.
Yes.
But also we were able to do that. And I'm wondering, Jay, you know, when, like, having worked with the director, you know, and then this vision, and then when you were out there and it's a beautiful day, we got lucky with the weather. It had been raining the whole week.
So lucky.
And then what did that feel? And that was the only play, everyone, where we were able to see each other. What did that feel like for you, Jay? Because you had the closest to a live experience than anyone else. What did that feel like for you? Just with everything with that moment.
It was so it was incredible. You know, as Helen mentioned, you know, just seeing your work come to life, it's just a phenomenal experience. Sometimes it's just out of body. You can't believe it's happening, that it's taking place, that it's really coming together. And so I've acted before with directors, but it wasn't my stuff. It was someone else's writing. And so even if I had wanted to do something different, or I didn't think I wasn't comfortable with something, it wasn't my play. And so I had to follow the directions of the director. But because this was my play, and I knew exactly what I wanted, I knew exactly what kind of emotions I wanted to evoke from people that were watching it. And I mean, if I don't feel emotion when I'm writing something, it's not good enough. I mean, that's just how I feel. It's not good enough. And so for this, Sadiqa was great. I mean, she could have just brought me to tears, because I don't think I would have wanted it done if there wasn't some way we could do it outside. And I was so happy, thrilled that not only did she want to do it, the actors wanted to do it. I had someone that offered their property to do it on. So it was an amazing experience. I'm just so thankful for everyone that was willing to make that type of a sacrifice and was willing to show up, particularly the condition and the circumstances that we were in. So, I mean, when you talk, your mask had to come off. So their masks had to come off when they talk. No, at the same time, we were doing everything that we could to be as responsible as possible under the circumstances. So I was just really pleased, just so pleased with Marianne on the set, and with Sadiqa and Michael B. Mayne. I mean, there's nothing that could have been done regarding anything that we did if it wasn't for Marianne and Michael B. Mayne. They would not have happened.
Yeah.
And so I am just forever grateful and thankful. Now, mention a play that's still in progress. That's done. It's done for me. I won't visit Madison Park Bench again. It's a short play. It was meant to be a short play, and I wanted it done from beginning to end. So if you, I like foreign films, and at the end, you're like, what's gonna happen? Why are you gonna leave me hanging like this? So that's what I wanted from Madison Park Bench, leave you hanging like that. And you can determine, you know, in your own mind, in your own experiences and thought, you know, what would take place after they went to the facility? How would you have reacted? Yeah, so that was my intent, to begin and finish a play. And then Marianne got a brand new one.
I like that. Well, I you know, that leaves me to the next question. So from now, we're going to transition to some of the questions. We've been intertwining some of the questions we've been getting in the room. Let's talk about some of the questions we've gotten on the feedback form for all of you guys. Jay, one of the questions, and also comments. So I'm just going to tell you, somebody wrote, the dialogue seems about Madison Park Bench. The dialogue seems realistic. HMD seems the most natural with his expressions and movements. And Mr. Maestro appears to be very wise. He's warm and friendly. He's piggybacking. At first, the person thinks he's piggybacking off the interest of all the young people until bam, we find out about Mr. Maestro. The question that came up, and we love it, this artistic choice, and that we all went with you on, because I think it's a wonderful way to rethink things. Why do we not get to see Mr. Maestro's face? Were you, and the person was thinking, were you doing that to force us to listen to his words more? So the way, yeah, tell us a little bit about why we didn't see his face. And then Lydia, as Jay's thinking about that, let's go to, do you have the questions open on your end too? I'm gonna ask you to piggyback, we'll switch off. So yeah, Jay, what were some of those choices that you made that we didn't see his face?
So it was intentional, and I didn't want the audience distracted by the expressions on his face, what he's wearing, what he looks like, how he's dressed, or anything. I didn't want any distractions. I just wanted you to hear his voice. And I wanted you to experience sitting on the beach yourself. And with his back to you, and if you're looking out in the water, you're not seeing his face. And so as people are walking up, it's almost like as an audience, you're walking up. And you don't see the person's face, you only see their back. And so you're also looking out on the water, and you're just experiencing him through the other actors that actually have the encounter.
That's good. And one of the interesting things that happened with the filming, which was interesting, was both the Noah, Carolyn, and hand-me-down character were supposed to have their backs totally, like they would be seeing the back. But when we filmed it, you could actually see a little bit of their faces, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But we never saw Mr. Maestro's. So I like that. I like that. Right. Let's see. So we'll go with some other comments about Mr. Maestro, original idea and acting. Yay, actors. Woo, woo. And they love the surprising twists, which I know Jay Ware does not like you said, you don't like everybody to know what's going to happen. You like a surprise.
Right.
So you did it for this viewer. So Lydia's got some other questions that have come through.
Georgia, there's a question that says, how do you think the play might be differently accepted if either or both of the characters had been younger in their 20s?
How would they, let's see, if they were in their 20s? I don't know if they could have had that kind of conversation. I think in their 20s, the woman would have said, I'm busy, what do you want? I don't think they would have had that, that kind of time. And it may just be the person, but I'm known for trying to give people the time. I can be really impatient. I pray for patience, and I always tell God, I'm no Job. And yet, when I'm talking to people, I try, okay, but I thought Elizabeth did it was just, it was good all the way. But by the time we did it, I don't know how many times we did it. I thought, yep, this is what I put on paper. And I thought it came through really, really clearly, But I think if they were younger, I don't even know if the man would have asked that kind of question, because I think many women who are much younger would have, I don't think men are surprised today by some of the things that women do, things that we never did or our moms never did. I mean, I know women in their 90s, 80s even, who never drove, never wanted to drive. I know women who never wrote a check or whatever. And that's So I think it would be very different if they were,
Mhm.
or it may not have happened if they were in their 20s. I don't know. That's an interesting question. Wish you could ask the person who wrote it what made her think of that. In 20s. Yeah.
Well, a
one of
lot of the comments to Changing Oil are saying that it showed the perceptions around gender and gender roles and how that seeps into our daily lives. And somebody thought, you know, that the characters, both you and Minnie with Troubled Waters and Changing Oil, very believable, and that people, you know, living experiences like that. There was someone who had written that I know somebody who looks like Amos, pretty much. I have an Amos in my life.
You don't have to look like him, you know,
Well,
you have to
the character,
like.
yeah, the character, they look like that character. So
and one of the things,
I
Dorothy,
know many.
that was important to you was having you said you knew that many women would recognize the situation and that it would resonate. And it's been great reading the comments because a lot of people are saying that very thing, saying, oh yes,
Really?
I know that situation.
Uh-oh. I'm giving up poetry. No more stories. No, that's good. That's good to hear. I see some people think that art, especially poetry, but sometimes abstract art or whatever, they are just so happy when people say, well, what's that supposed to be? Or I don't understand that, or I don't get that. And I'm not one of those persons. And it may be because I taught for such a long time, long before I was paid, long after I was paid. And I'm just in contact with so many people who don't understand. And when they do understand, something happens. And I love for people to understand. You don't have to agree with me, but understand me. And that's the way I feel it ought to be. You know, you should be happy that somebody understands. And understanding and agreeing aren't the same. And that's what I was trying to depict, a real scene. And there are just so many I've seen. I saw something the other day about Farrah Fawcett. And she was one of my favorite examples because before she became a Charlie's Angel, Lee Majors always beat her playing tennis. But once she became a Charlie's Angel, she used to beat him. And I think she could have beat him long before she was a Charlie's Angel. But it was, you know, she had to stay in her place. And I think there are just so many women who are like that. And anyway, I'm glad people understand it and people see it.
they definitely do. They're recognizing that. Let's go with some more questions and comments for people. Comment on back in the day. They thought the whole, you know, YMCA mistake was hilarious. And then they also were saying on, let me see. And by the way, everyone here, so fill out those feedback forms, everyone who's watching after you see one of the movies, play movies, and we will be forwarding that to all of you. So you'll have these comments directly. It doesn't indeed take a village to raise a child. Back in the day, whole communities of Black people were able to do this, like in the Central District. That's what one of the comments was about back in the day. Let's see, and we'll keep looking for those. Lydia, how about Changing Oil? You want to give some comments about Changing Oil and questions if there's any? Because they haven't heard or seen these yet, and I think that when you hear these comments, hopefully you'll go, oh yeah, or you'll say
Troubled Water.
Mhm.
For Troubled Waters.
Yeah.
One of the comments that I really enjoyed and I thought is true of what Minnie was hoping to demonstrate was that it really showed the nuances of a marriage, because there's a lot of give and take, and there is a lot of, especially when there's unplanned for accidents and things, but there also was an underlying humor. And Minnie, I know that you didn't want it to be just animosity between the two, because that's not how it was. There was trouble, of course, but in the end they came together, and it was a little bit hard for us to demonstrate fully because we were separate, but we added a little bit in there with just the hand on the shoulder to try to demonstrate that this is not a fractured marriage at all. But do you want to speak to that, Minnie?
Yes, you and I agree on the ending. Initially, I had thought about the mother taking the son, cuddling him, and walking away. And then there would be, I don't know, music or lyrical ending that had bridge over troubled waters. But then I liked your idea of having the two have some form of, I don't know, compassion for each other or empathy. But that one screenshot of him just throwing his hand over his shoulder just didn't do it. So somehow or another, there has to be another way, because otherwise, when I first saw it, it was like, is he trying to tell her, get away from me? Whereas I knew the intent reaches out to her. But when Michael does that, it's hard to show her response unless there's another screenshot where she now reaches out to him, so that there would be some kind of, I don't know, unification, understanding. But right
And
now,
that's where virtual definitely impacted us, because it was cut together of the best takes. And some of that, when everybody was on the same screen, for example, Trey Scott, who played TJ, the little boy, he had some great improv with his movements and things that we didn't see, and that you would get to see on stage. So I definitely recommend, when the world is open up again, that these plays have to be seen, because they're phenomenal.
And somebody, Minnie, just to let you know, we have a viewer who wrote in that, hey, that hand on the shoulder worked for me. So I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, that she could have, and and but I'm glad it did work. But like Lydia said, the virtual, we're all learning, how to make that happen. Yeah, so it looks like that was good.
Thank you, Lydia, for the suggestion.
Yeah. I just wanted to let Georgia know that you got a shout out, Georgia. I still remember your poem, Miss Georgia. I still remember your poem where you commanded us to wipe your feet before you step on me. Sending love, and that was from Twanda Hill. So if y'all want to send some love to some of the playwrights, come on, bring it. Isom/Roliat, whoops. And you can read more about Roliat in the program. People are asking about Disneyland Bus, and they're asking that question about, is this a personal experience? And racism is alive and well. The story was written pre-Watts riot. Is that correct? So these young boys already having that experience of, they say they know about being searched by the police, like the Disneyland man. It's pre-Watts riot. You're from Watts. Can you just tell us a little bit about, as I said, you wrote it in '89, you're doing it now. Any observations on what's going on and how your play is really timely, unfortunately?
Well, first thing, it is based upon personal experience. I was one of those paper boys. Wow. And it was wonderful, again, to see the performers bring to life my words and of that experience. It is timely. When you think that this was over 50 years ago, and some of these nuances of the shackles of what is virtually racism in America still exists, and that we are shuffling to relieve ourselves of it. I think what we see in the streets this very day demonstrates that, and demonstrates that it is not just a Black issue. There are all people from all walks of life out there walking with Black folks to see that justice happen in this nation. But it impacts us in those little ways, like those boys years ago who had their rights usurped by the Disneyland man.
Yeah, and I think one of the scenes I really like in your play is when we see the range of emotions at the end, when they're like, okay, something bad. I think it's Renard's like something, we better get off the bus, but I don't have a good feeling about this. And then Beaver, who to me always had this front of like, oh, shut up. He's like, I'm scared. I'm going to, my mommy. And you're like, these are kids, right? And then their range of emotions as they realize what's going on, the highs and the lows and the anger and the fear. I love that, the way you wrote that. And I'm, and that you went through that experience. And your friends, you and your friends, right? One of the things with, yeah, go ahead, Roland.
Yeah, well, thank you, Marianne. Those captured moments, to me, demonstrate some of the early conditioning that we get in America. And they culminate into things that we ran into in high school in Los Angeles, where there were police inspections throughout the community just to stop, harass Black, find out if they had, it was a fishing expedition. If you had a tail light, you were going to get a ticket that wasn't working, not to mention a warrant. So those little conditionings start early, and I just wanted to capture that and share that and magnify those emotions in young boys, young Black boys in America.
Well, you did it, brother. You did it. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Georgia.
I just wanted, he said virtual racism, and I thought, oh, let it go, but it can't go. There's no such thing as virtual racism. It may be micro or macro, but it's not virtual. And what I saw, but they knew about the stops at home, and they were accustomed to it. They may not have liked it, but they just took it in stride. But Disneyland, it's such a big deal. It's so different. And for me, their lives will be divided into before the Disneyland bus and after the Disneyland bus. And I think that's one of the great tragedies of so many of us in this country, how we saw a certain innocence we had. And then something such as that transpired. And the manager said nothing, and then he apologizes later. And that's the kind of thing that's so infuriating. And before we started, I've forgotten what the conversation was, but I said something about white people being silent, and several people said, oh no, they're never silent. Well, this is one of my examples of their being silent. There are many times they are silent. I'm still puzzled that they can be so moved by the death of George Floyd when there have been so many deaths. A tail light can get you killed. Jogging can get you killed. Sitting in your car reading can get somebody to call the police on you. They're just all of these everyday normal things that are not everyday normal things if you're a person of color. And he said it happened in Royat, said it happened in 61, and he wrote it in 89, and he's getting it produced in 2020. And that says a lot to me. There are these things that happened years and years ago, and sometimes we think we've forgotten them, and then something happens and we're right back there. And I can't help wondering what kind of person I'd be, what kind of an artist I would be had not some of the experiences in my life happened. And please don't tell me, you wouldn't have amounted to anything. I mean, it would be nice not to have all of these stresses. I think that's what takes us out, not the ham hocks, but the stresses.
Preach. I think you're absolutely right.
Think so
Lydia's
too.
got a question thank you, Georgia, and thank you, Rolette, for Yvonne.
So Yvonne, and back in the day, you incorporated some original music. What gave you the impetus to do that? Are you a songwriter, and do you think it went over well, and would you continue to add original music of your own?
Well, actually, I am a songwriter. And I have another play that Marianne read. And for that play, every song in that play is original. And I have the music for every song. It's like 5, 6 songs in that play as well. And I do have a song produced and in the process of getting another one produced, which one of the actresses agreed to sing it for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I just have to say, all of these were done via Zoom, and thank goodness, we have all these different platforms that we're able to use. The thing with some of them, you can't sing or play music together very well. So we had a grand old time singing that song, but when we tried to sing it together, that's why I was trying to have everybody do one line. And there was a point where we were all trying to sing together and it would be like, and as we're filming it, we can see it happening, which made it funnier, which made it feel like back in the day, we just sitting outside on the porch singing and having a good time together. And there was no way. So I directed back in the day. And I just loved it. I like the way thank you. I just like the way it was the spirit of the moment. And it was also a stage reading. So if we were live, we would have been patted down and we knew what we were doing, right? But it was fun and it was funny. So I would appreciated that music because I think it showed also the diverse, it just added something to each play, had something. And definitely the song was nice. And then we went with the back in the day pictures at the end. So I wanted to ask, because it's the question that I had, it's 7:20, whoa. I wanted to just ask all of you, is there something about a certain scene or character, or did something, that you think about and you're wondering how that is received by the audience? And if so, just go ahead and do that ask. And people who now watch, hopefully if they haven't seen the play already, they will know, oh yeah, Minnie asked me if this scene or this character, and Jay asked about that, or Helen did this, or Rolla. Go ahead if you have anything that's like, did it work? I don't know, how are people viewing it? This is their chance to think about that and do an ask. As you're thinking about that, here's a Disneyland observation. White culture, Disneyland bus, white culture has a hard time not being afraid of Black joy, and an even harder time not criminalizing young Black boys. It's true now, it's true then. It leaves a long-lasting bitterness and grief. So that's what someone took away from your play, Roy Liat. Changing oil, as you're thinking about what you want to ask people. It's unbelievable, but true how sexist men can be. Troubled waters, Families can find a way to maintain solidarity and love, even though economic distress creates such pain, distress, and tension. Madison Park Bench. Young people have such a hard time believing that what the Black elders they know have lived through and lived. Back in the day, oh, I mentioned it takes a village. Now I know you're looking for some red bones comments, so we'll find them for you, Helen. Let's do the ask. Does anyone have an ask for our viewers when they watch your play? And if not, that's fine.
I have one.
Okay.
It seems from the comments you've made about the questions they've asked that they do understand, they see it as I do, but I just wonder how do they feel at the end? Can they give me words to describe the ending? You know, just, I'm not going to give any ideas, but just when you finish, how do you look at it? And the way Elizabeth holds that phone, and just what do you feel at the end of the play?
Great question. What do you feel at the end of the play?
Nobody.
Okay, here's as you all are thinking about that, here we go. Question from Lindsay. I really loved all the plays. Thank you for all the playwrights. Is there an emotional journey for you after you let your play out in the world? So once it's done and it's out there, what does that feel like?
I'll do it. I think it's something, Helen was the one who said about the baby. And years ago, some artist said to me that creating art is like having a baby. And not that it's so hard necessarily, but you want to protect it. And so if somebody wants to do this to it or that to it, then you know, and so I feel protected. You know, when I finish it, I know how I want it, but I also know that I want people to get it. So I'm willing to give up some of the baby if it means somebody will understand a bit better, you know.
I guess for me, my maternal instincts came out when we began rehearsal. I told the director, Chino, that this was my baby, that I conceived and birthed, and I was now sending it to him to develop. And that's kind of how I felt about it.
I didn't see mine as a baby. I saw it simply as it's out there. So I want to know what you can make of it. It's maybe, if I can use another metaphor, you know, I scattered a lot of seeds and hopefully something's going to bloom here. Okay. And then someone might find a tree growing from those seeds and it bears fruit. So if they enjoy that fruit, then I have succeeded. So I don't try to protect it. I'm just saying I got to be bold, put it out there.
Yes.
What may. Okay. I'm not perfect. I don't expect my play to be perfect.
Well.
So do it, you know, adopt it, reject it, add some new limbs and some new eyes and teeth, whatever else you want to do.
Okay. Well, think about those. Oh, go ahead.
I think for me, because I'm a playwright as well, and my first play is based on my hometown, and it's so personal to me that I know that I will be the director, or I want to be the director for it, because I can't let it go enough.
Yeah.
But also, you know, I've seen reviews of it because it's been read, and it's interesting to see what other people take away from it when it's not something that I intended for them to take away from, but is really interesting. Or if they have a misconception. And one of the things as a Black playwright, and for my play, there are some things that happen because it's based on my hometown, Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, which is definitely went into a slide economically after the closure of the steel mills. And there is a way that people from my hometown will, what they will take away from it. But also what other Black people will take away from it. But then there's also the concern that white people may just take stereotypes away from it. And so, and I think that that's something that we face as Black artists. Sometimes it's like thinking about who is this for, and are we okay with, or we have to let go of the fact that other people who aren't us, who don't have our experiences, may not quite get what we're saying and may take away something negative when it's not intended to be negative.
Helen probably has some ideas on that because a lot of hers
Well, are you? I mean, there
thing is
no
based on that historical, you know, Black perspective. It's
I don't
kind of
think
deep, but it's just this idea of people taking your stories or.
I don't think that I would have anything to say because no one made any comments on what I wrote. So for me, I'm still wondering, did I write anything worth, you know?
Oh, Helen, okay.
No, it's over now. Everybody, no, yes. You just, everybody, there was something said about everybody's thing. Nothing was said about the one. So that's okay. I'll rethink what I did. And that's it.
Wait, can I mention though, Helen? So Helen, because you actually got the comments. People couldn't, you actually got a lot of comments already. They didn't find the form. So you got some comments, and I'm looking and I refreshed because people are still writing things in. And I want you to know, everybody who knows who's in the business.
Helen.
No. I have my big girl panties on. I really have my big girl panties on. I am not, if I would be, I would be nuts. I mean, I'm sitting here and everybody's talking about everybody's thing and nobody has anything. I construe that. I'm absorbing that and I have to deal with it. And it has nothing to do with anyone else. I was pleased, happy that Michael, my writing company got all those comments. No one, they just didn't see it. So that's it. Now let's go on to something else.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you have your big girl panties on because you are gonna get comments and we will be forwarding it to you.
Don't worry about it.
Somebody, here we go. Somebody is responding to you, Helen. Okay, so I'm gonna get some comments. Because Helen, you got comments. Here's one. I watched Helen's play. I made comments to her personally via text. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. I will catch my text. Thank you.
I didn't see the form. It was natural. I love the dialogue. Every HSMS needs to present it. I'm not sure. So this is what I was saying. You did get comments. Some people couldn't find the form. Just to let everybody know, when you watch the films, please look to the right side. You'll see the program. It mentions our great playwrights, our directors, our wonderful actors. And underneath that, it has a button that has a form that says feedback form. That's the only way our playwrights will be able to get that information to them. That's the best way. There's not the only way. So Helen, actually this person has a question for you, okay? So they say—
I didn't say anything.
Well,
Okay. I'm listening.
And I just have to say, you have a fudging phenomenal play. I just told you my husband just loved your play. You are getting comments. They're not coming on our form. And I'm sorry, I was reading the form. So I was reading the form. but people are sending them to you directly. Here's the question she asked.
Yeah.
Love you, Helen. Have faith. Big girl panties. What was your intention with King Kong coming into the bedroom? And you know, we've talked about King Kong. When people, can you tell us a little bit about that scene, Helen?
King Kong needed to come into the bedroom so that audience would get an idea of what it meant for this symbol, and him having the white doll, and what it meant to us as a race of people to have him coming in and hold the doll up as a symbol of what we have experienced in this country, especially as Black men and Black people who wonder, you know, who've always been bombarded with, we're definitely desperate to love something white. We're desperate to have something white in our life. We're not satisfied with love of our own race, of our own color. And that brought it to bear for me, you know. Let's look at it and see it for what it is. To me, it's it's something that's made up that have been made, that have put us in a place of inferiority. We have to have, if it's not white, it's not right. If we're not striving to be white or have something that is white, then our life is empty, and that's not true. So that's me.
Right.
Yeah.
And Helen, about your play too, you're just like Jay says, Madison Park Bench, he put out there. I ask everyone who is watching, and if you know of theater companies or somebody who would be able to move this forward into a space, check in with me. I'd love to be able to, or check in with the playwrights, check them out at AAWA. Let's keep moving these plays forward. I'm with them the whole way, wherever it goes. Our role is the stage reading, getting it out there, and hopefully we can get it out there again next year in a live audience, we hope. But if you are interested in any of these plays or learning more about what Lydia is writing, let us know. We'd love to hear back from you. And the other, with that said, Helen, I know that you, just like we were talking about, Yvonne's play is not complete. There's more to it. Is there more to Redbone?
Well, I don't know yet. I'll wait till I get my comments, then I can tell you. But I don't know yet. It may not be something that interests. And listen. I love you guys. I mean, I had a thrill. I mean, it was just amazing, doing this. But that doesn't necessarily mean that what you're doing is going to be something that's going to be received. And I have to be blessed enough to know that it was a blessing just to have met you guys, to be in your company, to love you and have you care for me, and to be able to have this experience. That's it. That's the most important thing that God blessed me today for this event. Right. Now, that's all. I'm not worried about anything else, because if there's something coming, it will arrive on time. It will definitely arrive on time.
There you go. That's the truth.
Amen.
And we also know as artists that we don't wait for anybody. We have to keep going with what's in our heart. And like you said, it'll arrive. And I think you have a great story. Let me ask, we had a question from Royaliat to all of our viewers before we're going to have about 10 more minutes, and then we're going to start signing out. To viewers, what did you think of the Disneyland Man? That's the question. If anyone wants to type it in, please do. What did you think of the Disneyland Man? So now we're going to go on, and since we are, you guys is there any other questions that people ask of from the audience about their characters or their play or a scene? Okay. Cool.
Well, I had someone that told me personally that it made her cry. and that, it made me cry when I was writing it. Particularly that obituary. I really enjoy plays that are emotional, that there has some emotion in there. And so I'm really hoping for the audience that they connected in some way, and that, you know, they really felt what the characters felt when they had that encounter with Mr. Maestro. And I wanted to know what they thought about their change. What did that change mean to them? So when I was writing, it was with the intent. I know what my intent was, what people will get out of it. It might be something entirely different. But my intent was to have an African American, a Caucasian, and a mixed person, whatever that mixture is, even though we're all mixed in some way with something. So that to show that we have so many things in common. And one of the most important things that we have in common is a desire to be accepted and to be understood. And for Mr. Maestro to tell them, after all is said and done, no matter what you're doing in life, be kind. So, you know, that's what I really want the audience to really focus on, that no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're going through or what you're experiencing or what you believe the differences are, strive to be kind. So I just want to know what other people got out of it. Someone else said that they got something entirely different in terms of but it's based on your own experiences sometimes. What they got out of it had something to do with what they experienced with racism and discrimination. But I really wanted to cut across all lines, and that includes culture and color and ethnicity. What is the core of what we need? And in terms of our seniors, someone mentioned that that seniors have a lot to give and young people don't see it sometimes. Some young people do, some young people don't, but they do have a lot to offer, and some seniors don't. But at the same time, for those that do, are you listening? Are you paying attention? Is it going to make a difference for you? Is it going to cause you to change in a positive way?
Thank you. Well, I think with those words, those are beautiful. Be kind. So with that in mind, let's start to think about, we got the questions you're putting out there. Thank you, everyone. Jay, Helen, Isom had Roylat, also knows Roylat, had some great questions directly to everybody. And you know that Yvonne's doing music, you know how to find us. Before we sign out, I want to have Michael B. Mayne come on camera and tell us a little bit about, this is the last show for We Out Here 2020.
Oh, I'm actually unmuted for once. Oh man. I can't believe the end is here for 2020 for We Out Here. Thank you all, like everybody watching, everybody here. Thank you all so much for everything. I will start with what's coming up for We Out Here. Then I'll go into my thanks, and I'll go into my reflections. And I'll try to keep it brief because it's Saturday night, and I know there's some folks watching in the Central Time Zone and some on the East Coast, so I don't want to hold you all forever. But just okay. All right. So here we go. What did I say I was gonna start with? Did I say thanks? Nope. Thanks was second. Reflections third. First was what's coming up next for We Out Here. So We Out Here has reached a conclusion for as far as the virtual programming as in a festival form. But one of the beautiful things about the digital space is that we don't have the same kind of limitations we do in physical space, physical land. And so the work that you've been able to see and experience here will remain up on the website for as long as we can afford to keep the website up, and as long as it provides value for people that are visiting. In addition to that, I, for one, care a lot about accessibility, and I want to recognize, not want to recognize, I do recognize that not every program here has been as nearly as accessible as I would like. It doesn't reach my own standards. I'll be sending all the videos to have them all captioned to make sure that people can read them, make sure that the audio is clean and clear so people can understand them and hear them more clearly and things like that. It's very important to me that everybody is treated with respect and dignity, and that everybody has an opportunity to engage with the material in the way that feels comfortable and fair for them. So that work is not over, and there's definitely much more work to be done there. In addition to that, I see We Out Here, the festival as a thing, but I also see We Out Here as a living organism or set of resources that can continue to live beyond these 5 days. And so if there's a list of resources, books, films that can be watched and streamed for free. I'm working with Langston constantly, and also the King County Library System and Seattle Public Library Systems, to make sure that as resources become updated, we continue to add more resources to the website. And I want this to be a place where people can come and feel, for lack of a better word, at home. Like I know for me growing up, I had both my parents are from Louisiana, so I grew up in Dallas. But whenever I went to Louisiana, I always felt so held in the community, because it was a much more like communal village type environment. I walk down the street and there would be 5 people say, "Hey, I don't know why you're walking down this street. You need to turn left. Don't turn right. Turn left. Turn left now. I don't know what you're doing over here." But and I like the idea that people can come to a place, and this is not the only place, but a place, and find access to things that make them feel at home, things that they might need access to. So that work will continue. If there are any other events that you have, any other work that you're creating, and this is for people in the Zoom, people watching, people that might see this later, if there are anything that you find might be helpful to you or especially the Black community, feel free to let us know, let me know. We'll make sure to continue adding things to the calendar year round, resources year round, books. If you have something that you're publishing, feel free to let us know. So the idea here is that we can really shine a light on the beauty that is within the community, that is just here. Excellence doesn't only show up in academic terms, it shows up in all different types of ways. And I think it's very important to recognize that I personally do not subscribe to the monolithic narrative of Black people, whether that's on some kind of whatever term, positive terms, negative terms. There is so many expressions, so many types of people, so many types of art, creativity, work, business, families, structures, bodies, everything. And it's important to recognize that all of us need to have a place to be able to feel comfortable. And so I'm working on that in partnership with other people to make this happen. And this is something that I'm personally committed to, and won't rest until we continue doing this. My mother is watching, probably, unless she's passed out, which is also a possibility. She's probably going to call me right after this and say, "I don't know why you said this in front of all these people." But there's a story that she hasn't heard yet. And this is the first time she'll hear it. First time I was put in handcuffs, I was 15 years old. And I was put in handcuffs and put in the back of a police car because the store owner or whoever was working there thought I stole a Slurpee. And I didn't. But at 15, I was put in handcuffs, put in the back of a police car in front of people, driven across a parking lot to get out of the car to go into the gas station. And that was one of the most traumatic experiences I had ever had at that time. And I could have, but I chose not to tell my parents, because even at 15, I understood how difficult it was to raise, or I don't fully understand, but I had some understanding of how difficult it is to raise a Black boy in the South, especially. And to have a Black boy graduate from high school is one of the hardest challenges that a Black parent can have, or any parent with a Black son, especially. And I had heard the things that my parents went through, the things that they sacrificed and the things that they did. and all of the work that they put in constantly to make sure that I had all those opportunities. And still at 15, all of that didn't matter. And at that point, I thought, well, I have to prove to people that not everybody, like, being Black doesn't mean that I am bad. And I kept questioning things like, why do you hate us so much? Why do you hate us so much? And what I wanted to do was prove that we were worthy of love. And that's where I focus a lot of my energy. It's like, I have to be the best in track, the smartest in school, or at least the highest achieving in school. I have to do this. I have to be excellent at everything, because I wanted to make it easier for the next person that came after me. And I also didn't want somebody to point a gun at me again because of the color of my skin. And it wasn't until I got older that I was like, you know what? I'm tired of trying to prove to people that I have value and that I deserve to exist in this world. And I don't think that anybody should have to prove to anybody that they have the right to exist. And so We Out Here came about not as a way to show people that we matter, or not to show people that we deserve to exist, but to create a forum in which we can be who we are unapologetically. And you take that however you want to. You can like it, you can not like it. Whatever it is, that's on you. But as far as I'm concerned, I want to be me, and I want you to feel free to be you. So the things that really stood out to me throughout this process have been the stuff in between the productions. Like when we were filming all of these for Zoom, of course, like, I like all the plays, I like all of the work. The things that really stood out to me, though, were the laughter in between scenes and cuts and takes, and looking at a screen and seeing people that I've only seen in passing, talking with each other and communing and laughing and having so much joy and reflecting on pieces and thinking about events that happened 50 years ago, how similar they are to some of the events that happened 5 minutes ago, and still have a reason to smile and laugh and tell that story. And tell that story because it is within the person to tell that story, not to prove to anybody else that this story means this thing or says this thing. So, you know what, this is my story, and my story matters, and my story has value, and I'm going to use my voice because I have a voice. And so I can't express the appreciation I feel for all of you as much as I do. And so thank you so much for being here. Let's see, I have a few more thank yous I need to make. I tried to write down some notes because, at this point, it's been a long couple days, getting tired. But first and foremost, I am thanking the people who came before me. And some of those people are alive and some of those people are not. I want to thank I am thanking my mother. I'm thanking my father. Both of them complete individuals, complete with flaws. And I learned so much from you. And I appreciate the support you have always provided for me, and the sacrifices you've made, and the gifts that you've shared with me and the rest of the world. So first of all, thank you for bringing me into this world and allowing me to exist in the way that I do. All the ancestors whether they were blood related or not, the people who have proven to me over and over and over and over again that no matter how difficult things get, no matter what people say, no matter what people do, how people see me, it is the responsibility of myself to live my life. And we have always found, as a people, no matter how difficult things have been, what kind of challenges we have faced, how far we've traveled, we have always found a way to rise and be who we are, and excel and be beautiful and be excellent. And I want to, and I do recognize everybody who came first, and the people that come after. Know that some of the stuff that we're doing it for ourselves, and also in hopes that maybe your life might be just a little bit easier than ours was, maybe just a little bit more beautiful than ours was. Thank you very much to Langston, Seattle. Big shout out again to Tim and Jasmine. they were the first person I told about the idea of a portrait series, and invited us to have a show. And the idea was that, like, well, how about instead of having a show, let's put something on that brings people together. And they believed in me, they believed in this project, and they believed in you. And so thank you again to Langston, seriously, Tim and Jasmine. Thank you so much. Beautiful, wonderful people, very much community advocates. And this would not have been possible without them. I want to recognize that again, and I say this all the time, but I'll say it again because I don't think it can be said enough, is that We Out Here is not the beginning, nor is it the end of Black excellence, Black performances, Black production. The people here are not the beginning, nor are they the end of Black artists, presenters, educators, advocates, community members. There are so many more of us out there. This is a small representation of what can happen when people have a platform to share the stories in themselves. Thank you to Thriving Communities for supporting this, for supporting us as well. Also producing the video that you saw earlier with Naima Clark and Nurturing Roots. The Mahogany Project, the African American Writers Alliance, Sharon Nyree Williams and Mira, thank you both for coming into all of the chats. Thank you for making sure that things are running smoothly, letting me know when things were broken so they could be fixed. And appreciate you all doing those text messages, making sure I'm eating and things like that. So thank you, thank you. Thank you for all the folks that have been tuning in, leaving comments, leaving questions, chatting, participating, because especially in a virtual space, for presentations, presenters, actors, people that are pouring their heart and soul out into performing and entertaining, it can be very difficult to do this without having some kind of energy, reciprocity from an audience or from a community. So thank you all for participating in a way that let us know that you were with us and appreciating what we're doing. Helen, you said something that kind of wraps up how I feel about We Out Here. You said, I wrote it down after you said it, so I might have missed the quote a little bit, but something like, this is what I have produced. They have made it beautiful. Something along those lines.
Right.
One of the highlights for me was watching you at the end of recording that day, and somebody asked, like, oh, I think one of the actors said something like, how did that go? What do you think? And you were like, I had a vision and you made it happen. You made it happen. It was so beautiful. You made it happen. And that's very much how I feel about We Out Here. Like, yeah, I had a vision, but there's no way this would have happened without you and you and you and you and you and everybody else. So thank you. Thanks for realizing this. It's only a dream until somebody helps make this thing a reality.
That's true.
Said that. Yep, said that. I think that is pretty much it. I said thanks. I said reflections and what's happening next with We Out Here. The end. Now, with that being said, we have a room full of elders here, and I don't feel like it is okay for me to leave and having the last word when there's so many wonderful people here. So I know I'm putting somebody on the spot. I'm not going to ask any individual, any specific person to say or do anything, but I will invite somebody else who is on this call to lead us out.
May I, since I would like to add before everyone else, one thing. Michael B. Mayne, thank you. And I want to let everybody know this is only possible with Michael's vision and also your donations. So I will say it for Michael. Please visit the website, www.weouthereseattle.com. On that front page, there is a donate button. And if you are able to donate or give anything at all, that button will be there for a while. You give $5, you give $10, you give 15 or 20. We really appreciate that because it helps Michael continue to have this vision be alive and reach all of us as artists and as community members and as activists and as health care workers and all of the people that have been presented to We Out Here. And then us bring that out to you. So please look at that donate button. And I want to thank everyone for joining the panel. The panel can end it. I do want to say thank you to Tiana Ross, the stage manager for Transformations. If you want to, there's Tiana, hey, also an actress, also technical, they do everything, okay? So Tiana, thank you, couldn't have done it without you. I want to thank Chino Gonzalez, who worked with the Mahogany Project on the music and on the graphic design for for everything you see. I want to thank Lydia, who's been with me on this journey also as a dramaturg, as a director, and as a snap in it copy editor. Thank you, Lydia. I want to thank all of our actors, Michael Hurd, Betsy Haddocks, Trey Scott, Brandon Jones Mooney, Alicia Nicole Walton, Chip Sherman, Alex J. Korger, Larice Roberts, Danny Hassett, Omara Reese, Elizabeth Payne, Tiana Ross, Hazel Rose Gibson, and T. Denard. Thank you. Our directors, Sadiqa Iman, Chino Gonzalez, Lydia Valentine, and Valerie Curtis Newton. Thank you so much. Of course, our playwrights. Don't forget, visit www.aawaseattle.com. If you are a Black writer in this area from the diaspora, we would love for you to join us. If you're not in the area, you can join us also because we're going virtual. Also, mahoganyproject.org. Visit a website. Let us know what's up. You want to volunteer. You're an actor, you're a writer, you're a producer, whatever. Contact me. Let's talk. Let's talk. Okay, everybody, take us home. AAWA. What you got? What you got?
What you got, Georgia?
May I say,
What you got?
may I say that next month, hopefully, my latest book, which is called The Unexpected 2020, the year the face of America changed, will be coming out. And I hope and pray that you guys will get a copy. I do love science fiction, but it's ready. Thank you. I had a beautiful time. This was an adventure of my life. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Michael,
Yes.
you continue in the same voice that you just expressed. I can't imagine you getting any closer to heaven. Okay. You're definitely on your way. I don't know at what altitude or on what cloud, but you are up there, young man, beyond phenomenal. So I wanted to express to you my deepest appreciation for your patience with all of us novices, not necessarily Yvonne, but many of us. So if the word fits, okay. If it doesn't fit, throw it off. Right, Helen?
Right.
It definitely fits. Thank you. Thank you.
What's next, Michael B. Mayne? You are the main person.
Right.
Yes.
We're continuing to work on We Out Here. I have a show coming up at Portland State University, an exhibition there. I don't have a date yet, so I can't say much else yet, but I'll be having a virtual exhibition there.
Okay. But it'll be on your website.
It will, absolutely. Yeah, I plan on continuing to do much more production work. I'm trying to use this as a platform to create more work where people can share, stream their things, and so that more people can know about what's going on in the community. And those are the main things that I'm focusing on now, besides just trying to grow myself and continuing to evolve as a human, read more, purchase more of your books that you've all written, and read those, and yeah, just try to keep developing. That's what's next for me.
And what's next for you, Marianne?
Well, that's so kind of you, Minnie. So I'm working with a date to be announced in August with Town Hall and some other community partners to present the film Suppressed. And this is about voting rights. And we're going to do a virtual screening of the film by Brave New Worlds.
Oh,
They are
great.
looking for communities to show this film. It talks about how the Black vote is suppressed in this country and how historical that has been. And we want to be able to, the Mahogany Project, as well as our other community partners, want to be able to show the film and have a dialogue with community about how we're going to get the vote out. And so that's one of the things that's next. And also continuing to obviously promote you guys, but we're also getting ready for Urban Poverty Forum next year, where we'll have some actors already on board, and we'll be doing productions with that. So
Great.
thank you.
Right.
And
Great.
anyone else? Georgia, Jay, Lydia, Yvonne. We know Yvonne's got music going on. And
Yeah,
I-
I have. I'm currently working as dramaturg with Empathos Company for an all-female Julius Caesar. It's virtual. It will be shown in the fall, and we are pairing that with voter registration to get people to get out there and vote. I'll be a dramaturg with Porkfield Productions and their upcoming play festival, and my poetry manuscript. Speaking in Tongues will be coming out at after the first of the year.
Great.
I
Wonderful.
just want to thank everybody. I just want to thank everybody. It was Jay who said, "Oh, you have lots of poems that could be plays." And she has yet to give me some, but I thought, well, I'll see. But and then Mary Ann, who kept saying we could do this, and then we all got in on it, and it is wonderful. It is wonderful. The Mahogany Project is wonderful, and of course, the African American Writers Alliance is wonderful. This is the first time we've done a play, and it all happened so quickly. And I say this is another good from the coronavirus. You know, there are a lot of good things coming out of it. And if this hadn't, they've all come together, converged, a perfect storm, whatever you want to say.
Perfect storm.
I tell myself it's God looking after me, not doing what I want most of the time, many times. But there are these times when everything works together, and it works well together. And I am just so glad I know everybody here. Really glad.
You know,
Thank
I
you.
want to uplift just what Georgia said. What a unique convergence of the universe that we're able to display our stars. Thank you.
And I'm supposed to be speaking somewhere else, you guys, so I gotta go.
thank you, Georgia. That's right. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you,
thank
Dr.
you,
McDade.
Georgia.
And we're just about, signing off. Who else wanted to? Thanks, Georgia. Thanks, Rollout was saying something. And Jay, if you wanted, Tiana, Yvonne, anyone else want to?
I just wanted to say that this was just an excellent experience. It really was. It was just so exciting. I agree with Helen, just to see it coming to fruition. It was an incredible experience. And Michael B. Mayne, of course, we've said fantastic things about Mary Ann. It just goes without saying that this could never have even gotten off the ground without Mary Ann's vision. So, but Michael B. Mayne, I mean, you truly were the icing on the cake. Your skill, your technique, your knowledge, your abilities, your patience, your tolerance, just all of that. Just seeing you all around the community, you're kind of like everywhere. And that is because you are so good at what you do, and you open yourself up, and you're accessible, and you're available. And it's clear that your skill is at the top of its game. And I appreciate you so much. And I do know that not only because of your abilities, but because of your attitude and your thinking about yourself and about life, that great things are going to come to you. I can just see that happening for you. This is a bump in the road right now, but we've gone through as a people bumps in the road continually. But you are going to be a force outside of our community to be reckoned with.
Thank you.
All right, then. Sounds like we're up. Is that
We're
it?
done.
So I think
Hey.
thank you everyone for joining the African American Writers Alliance, presented by the Mahogany Project with Transformation.
Seattle.
Yeah. One act plays. Continue to watch the plays. Please give us feedback. They will be up and running on weoutHereSeattle.com. Thank you so much. Thank you, panelists.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiana.
Thank
Love you guys. Thank you, Maccabee, Mayne.
Thank you.
Bye.
Love
See you
y'all.
next week.
All right. See you next week.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mm.